going to be for anyone else on this grid. But I imagine Geekin and Kalula, they have to pit. They don't have the fuel. Matthews might stay out for one lap. Wiza might stay out for a lap. Twilight and Violet will likely inherit the lead momentarily. Pace car is in. Oh my goodness, Geekin is staying out. Kalula is staying out. No one is pitting coming to the green flag this time. There's only 5% left in the fuel tank here for Geekin, about similar for Kalula. What can they do with one lap on completely burnt out tires with a low fuel load? The field is doubled up in the first 3 rows, and we are underway. Geekin has only one Dex driver to worry about right now, and it's Dex Kalula. Big twitch, and already off track is Octavio's, and there's a multi-car accident. Violet's in the wall back there as well. Did Violet get damaged if they got turned to the outside wall? No damage, but they have hemorrhaged a bunch of position. So has several other drivers, but it is Geekin who leads side by side with Kalula. Kalula looking on the outside as they go down in turn number 2. Who goes deeper under braking? It will be Geekin. Kalula tries to cross over. Geekin won't let that happen. Matthews is right there in 3rd now. And now Geekin up at the head of the field. Flies through turns 3 and 4 now. A bit of a slide out of the rear of the car. Kalula looks there. Kalula tries to make it side by side. You don't want to be side by side in the mountain, Kalula, and he wisely decides to back out of it. But now Kalula is under threat from Matthews. Geekin trying to open up a gap, trying to get a nice clean gap, nice big gap so he can run away from the rest of the field. Destroyer and Little Kid Suave have fallen to the rear of the grid. Oh, and there's contact there. Was that Savage? That may have been Savage. No, it wasn't Savage. Was it Wiza? Yes, it was Wiza. Wiza into the wall. Big slide. Now he slides through the dirt, and now he's hemorrhaging time. Has he taken damage? Yes, the car is destroyed. Wiza's car is absolutely destroyed, and now he is falling through the field rapidly now. And Geekin has already pulled a half-second gap on Kalula. Kalula can't get away from Matthews. Seems like on the worn tires, Geekin is definitely Kalula's superior. Here is Dex Twilight, though. They are on significantly fresher tires. What can they do? They've not hit 20% on their wear yet. They've passed Matthews. They're passing their teammate Kalula now, looking up the road at F1R Geekin. But Geekin is already out of drafting range right now, but their tires are already cooked. Geekin will surely have to pit at the end of this lap. We know that Kalula is going to have to pit at the end of this lap as well. IRT Subaru making their way up the grid further back as well. Indiel Violet's gaining position as well. There's someone backwards, and that was Octavio's who was backwards. Got to Inlake Wheat, got to Violet. There's a multi-car accident. Octavio came flying into the chicane completely backwards. No damage. Octavio's is able to continue, but it's been absolute madness and chaos here. Somehow, no yellow flag despite the multiple accidents we had that lap. Dex Twilight now leads. IRT Subaru now goes into 2nd, and it is Savage. It is Savage, 66.47, who now goes up into 3rd position, and Dex Corino, who got wrecked, which brought out our 3rd yellow flag. He is suddenly back in the top 4 positions now. Geekin pitted, but now he's behind Little Kid Suave. He's going to be behind Destroyer as well. He's going to have to deal with quite a bit of traffic, and he's going to have Matthews behind him as well. What can Matthews do in this event now? Kalula still in pit lane as we speak, as they had a longer pit stop than anticipated, it would appear. Here comes Geekin already making the move on Destroyer. Wants to try and clear him so he can get a nice clean run through the mountain section this time by side, bit of a twitch, bit of a slide. We still have, no, Geekin will complete the overtake. One of Matthews. Can Matthews do it? Matthews going to look to the inside, side by side to turns 3 and 4 between Destroyer and Matthews. Oh, here comes Destroyer. Destroyer gets into Geekin just a little bit. Geekin is sideways to come out of turn number 4. Now he finally starts pulling away as Destroyer and Matthews are back to just fighting with each other. You two need to not go side by side in the mountain section. That is the most important thing, as Dex Twilight has opened up a significant 2.4 second gap on IRT Subaru right now. Subaru, though, has just got to be so happy to be able to run in a top 2 position right now. Real quickly looking at the tire wear of our drivers at the head of the field. 25.7% right now for Dex Twilight. For IRT Subaru, just a little bit behind. 20%. So Subaru's doing better on tire life. What about Savage back here in 3rd? 27%. So Savage is closer to Twilight when it comes to tire life. And then what about Carino here in 4th? They're at 27%. So between them all, I think Subaru has the better tire life of these top 4 drivers. Then you have Indiel Violet, who was involved in a 3-car accident at this point of the track a lap ago, but still has worked their way up into 5th. They're also at 28% tire life right now. But still, Twilight is running off into the distance as Subaru is holding up Savage, and they are both going to be holding up Dex Carino. Carino's not going to be happy about that, but the strategies are all over the place now. It's going to be hard to tell who has how many pit stops left in the event. Early in the event, it looked like soft tires could go about 7 laps, so that was with a lot of yellow flag laps. If we were going full bore all the way through, you might only be able to get about 5 or 6 laps under green flag circumstances on soft tires. Medium tires could maybe take you 7 laps. Do you consider throwing on mediums and hoping that the field gets spread out enough that we don't have another yellow flag? Little Kid Suave has worked his way up into the 8th position. He is your championship leader running on. We are on so many different strategies right now. It's hard to say what Suave is doing is an alternate strategy. He was one of the first drivers to jump on an alternate strategy. But he's just one of many on alternate strategies right now. There were so many instances, so much chaos throughout the grid. And then Octavios, who a lap and a half ago was completely backwards, spinning and crashing at 2 other drivers. They're still on track, still running in the top 10 right now. And then here's F1R Geekin, arguably one of, if not the fastest driver here, although he's definitely going to be involved in some controversy. I imagine he'll be investigated post-race for the incident between himself and Carino, but Geekin has cracked his way into the top 10, but now he's going to find his laps being held up by drivers like Octavio, Little Kid Suave. That is not going to make him happy at all. Carino was able to clear Savage, but they are now being held up by Subaru, and the gap between Carino and Dex Twilight has now grown to about 5 seconds. Subaru wide as they come onto the back straightaway. That's going to give Carino a nice clear run to the inside. Carino is now going to jump into 2nd position. This is the best chance that Carino is going to have to try and run down the gap on the leaders, but for Subaru, this may not be a bad thing still, because they still have a bit of a tire life advantage over the likes of Twilight, Carino, and Savage here. Here comes Subaru looking back against Carino. Side by side, Subaru and Carino. The Dex driver is going to go much deeper under braking. And that's Savage, who went ghost mode for some reason. Seemed like something went wrong there. And in the process of going ghost mode, they'll give up a position to NDL Violet. Violet now closes in behind IRT Subaru as we speak. It looks like Lil Kid Suave maintained 8th position, and F1R Geekin has actually lost ground. F1R Geekin has flipped back to the 12th position, and he's taking damage. It looks like Geekin has damaged his car somewhere. Well, 3 different Dex drivers and now the F1R driver have all taken significant damage, and now he is going to have to jump into the pits here. He was already 27 seconds out of the lead, and Octavios is going to go ahead and pit with them as well. So is Wiza. So Geekin, Octavios, and Wiza all pitting. Did they all have an accident or what? There's still no movement from XR Monaco, so it seems like we are still green at the moment here. Up the mountain we continue to go. About 10 laps, well, a little bit over 10 laps, closer to 11 laps left in the event right now. Watching Subaru as they are gradually hemorrhaging time. They've got a tire life advantage, but they do not seem to have the pace to really take advantage out of it. Dex Carino, who started on pole, had been one of the fastest drivers all day long, got turned early, has recovered all the way up to 2nd, but he knows that 4.5 seconds up the road is his teammate, Dex Twilight. Now, granted, Twilight and Carino are not in the same team in this series. They're both Dex drivers, but they are not in the same team in this series. Keep that in mind here. Then you also have NDL Violet being a wild card right now, as they're shunting the car down through the but down the mountain section and onto the straight once again. Subaru completely losing touch with the lead group, but again, Subaru I believe is on a wildly alternate tire strat. 37% tires for Subaru. I look at Twilight here, who is your leader at the moment. 43%, and Twilight also has a bit of engine damage as well, apparently. Then I look at Carino, 44%. They're doing just slightly better on tire life right now, but likely not an entire lap better on tires. But again, if you can only go 5 or 6 laps on soft, well, that's the thing. If you can only go 5 laps on soft tires, these drivers are in for a bad time. They're going to want to throw on some mediums. If you can go 6 laps on tires, same thing, but you can make the mediums last a little bit easier. But if you can only go 5 laps, you might as well pit at the end of this lap, go 5 laps, then pit again, throw on another soft tire, and we are on our longest green flag run of the time right now. Inlaid Wheat's gone ahead and made their pit stop now, and after making their stop, F1R Geekin is now 52 seconds out of the lead. Now, they do have a tire life advantage to the end, but being nearly a minute out is going to just kill their ability to really do anything here. And one of our championship leader, Lil Kid Suave, He just wants to bring home some top 10s to wrap up this championship nice and calmly. He's at 40% on his tires right now, so he could probably make it to lap 22, pit at the end of lap 22, throw on the mediums and just bring it home from there. If we don't have any yellow flags, he could be good to the end. Again, we're not expecting him to fight for the win, but he's just trying to bring home good results so he can try and further extend his advantage. The word I'm hearing in chat is that you can go 7 laps on the soft tires, but we saw drivers go 7 laps on the soft tires earlier, but that was with a lot of running under caution flag, under green flag circumstances. I find it hard to believe you could still go 7 laps on the soft tires. Dex Carino has now fallen 5 seconds out from Dex Twilight at this stage of the event. Subaru is now 9.5, almost 10 seconds out from the leaders right now. So any strategy that Subaru may have had is going to be made null and void by the fact that they just do not have any pace whatsoever. And the gap between themselves and Suave is about 14 seconds and slowly closing. And now back down into the final corner. We see teammates Subaru and Savage. Pip Central and Dex Kalula having a little bit of a spat between each other here, as Kalula is trying to fight his way back to the grid, and Pip, who's already been involved in 2 accidents, just wants to maybe hold on to a top 10, somehow pull some kind of result out of this mess of a race. Down to the final corner this time by. It's so hard to make overtakes, even if you're faster than the drivers ahead. It's so hard to make something happen. Here comes a move. Dex Kalula to the inside. Pip Central on the outside, neck and neck. And that will give the position to Dex Kalula. So our third Dex driver finally gets back into the top 10. And all 3 of our Dex drivers are ahead of F1R Geekin at the moment. Subaru has lost the position to Savage now. Miniero is 4 seconds out from Subaru. Real quickly, I want to go ahead and look at the tire life of our leaders. 57% and 3% left in the tank for Dex Twilight. What of Carino? Carino, who runs in second, has 12% still in the tank, 58% tire life. If you can go 7 laps, like what I've heard, Carino might try to extend this 1 extra lap, pit at the end of lap 22 and do 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Try to go 7 laps to the end, but can Carino make that strategy happen? The incredible scenes if Carino can go from starting on the pole to being wrecked to winning on strategy. If Carino can pull that off, it would be amazing, but there's a lot of race left, and I do not have confidence in the tires lasting 7 laps like what I've heard. Thing is, if Carino is fast enough, if he's still one of the top 2 or top 3 fastest in the field, it may not matter. Twilight pits, as we expected. Carino is pitting. With 8 laps left in the event, Carino is pitting. NDL Violet's going to jump into the pits as well. What of Savage and Subaru? Savage is going to stay out, so it looks like we will see Savage go into the lead of this race for a little bit now. Now his tires are in the 62% range. So his tires are not happy, but the thing for Savage is that when he pits at the end of this lap, he'll be able to throw on softs, not have to worry about them to the end, but those tires are already absolutely cooked. He's going to be hemorrhaging a massive amount of time. And that's the thing when I'm talking about Twilight, Carino, these drivers, they're already some of the fastest. And the thing is, when you're one of the fastest or the fastest driver on track, as long as you're not being completely, low IQ with your moves, you can make any strategy you want work because you can just outdrive everybody on just poor strategies. So 8 laps left in the event. Can Carino make his tires last to the end? And the thing is as well, even if Carino can't make his tires last to the end, who's going to be around to challenge him? Who's going to be around to try and capitalize and nip him for the position? Twilight is still ahead, though, by 5 seconds. And that's the other thing. Twilight and Carino pitted at the exact same time. The gap is about 4 seconds in Twilight's favor. So Carino is closing the gap down slowly but surely. So with 8 laps left, we're going to keep an eye on the tire life of Twilight and Carino. Dex drivers might be going for a 1-2 finish. The other thing, of course, is going to be Savage. Savage is going to try and make it only 7 laps to the end on tires, but already he's got a lot of wear on this set of rubber. There's only a few more corners left. Really only two more braking zones left. At the bottom of the hill and then coming into the pit road. But those are two of the hardest braking zones to nail here. And Twilight is burning down the Nicotina more, running him down rapidly. Already the gap between Savage and Twilight is less than 4 seconds. If I look at Twilight, they're at 6% right now. What is their tire life going to be as they come out of turn number 1? That will tell us roughly how much of life they lose in their tire in a single lap. And then we'll take the same look at Carino shortly afterwards. Savage into the pits as expected. Even if Savage doesn't win, he is on track for what could be a good result off of strategy. The gap is about 4.5 seconds between Twilight and Carino. Little Kid Suave pits now. So does Matthews. So Suave and Matthews trying to pit now. They know they'll be good on tires to the end. Looking at Twilight's tire life, 8.8% after 1 lap. If you can get to about 62%, 8 goes into 62, well, about 8 times. Oh, that math says 8 laps, you could be good. Their tires aren't going to be happy near the end, but Twilight could be good on tires to the end for 8 laps. What about Carino? 9. Ooh, that's a little bit rougher. If it's 9% a lap that you're burning up, though, that would be only 7 laps. Twilight might have a tire advantage over Carino. What about NDL Violet, who runs just a little bit behind? They're at 10%, so their tire life seems to be more comparable to Carino's than Twilight. So not only does Twilight have an on-track advantage, they may have just enough life in their tires and just enough management of their tires. They could continue to open the gap on Carino here. It could be Carino versus Violet fighting for second here, and if their tires really fall apart, they could be looking at drivers such as Little Kid Suave or Matthews or Savage fighting with them. Speaking of Little Kid Suave and Matthews, here they are. Suave in the Milwaukee Porsche being followed by Matthews in that Mobil 1 Porsche, as they're now going up to the top, the highest part of the mountain right now. Miniero has snuck their way by Subaru in the top of the mountain, and now downhill. We missed that overtake. You typically don't want to make those overtakes if you can help it, but he went for it. Subaru still on track. They've got engine damage, and that's not going to help them one bit, though. But Miniero has forced their way up into the 4th spot on track, and they've only got 14% wear on their tires. Could Miniero make their tires last to the end as well? The thing is that Little Kid Suave and Matthews and Savage are going to be coming. They're going to have better tires than everyone ahead of them on the run to the end. Twilight likely can make it on tires, and they have plenty of gap. Ooh, here comes a move here, back by Subaru to the inside of Miniero. Could not make it stick coming out of the chicane, though, and Miniero will hold on to the position. The top 3 have pulled out an obscene gap on the rest of the field, and NDL Violet is slowly closing down on Carino. Ooh, Matthews has gotten by Little Kid Suave. Suave looking to the outside in the final corner, but Matthews holding to the station right now. Bit of a twist by Suave. Again, Suave just wants to try and bring home as good of a position as they can to maintain as much of their points lead as they can throughout the rest of the season. He had a massive points lead coming into the event. At the head of the field, though, it is still Dex Twilight, about 4.5 seconds over Dex Carino, and then NDL Violet runs a little bit more than a second behind Carino right now. Then you have AFZ Miniero and IRT Subaru, but Miniero is gradually pulling away from Subaru. After that is Savage. Savage, we know, has tires that will not fall off to the end of the run. Could Savage have a strategy that will get him back into a top 5 result on the run to the end here? Kalula is in 10th. F1R Geekin is in 9th. They might be able to catch Matthews or Little Kid Suave if they have a significant enough pace advantage, but I think they're going to have a slight tire disadvantage to the end, though. Savage can now look ahead and see their teammate Subaru up the road. And Subaru can still see Miniero just ahead. So Miniero, Subaru, and Savage all close enough that if one of them make a mistake, one of them have a bobble, or heaven forbid, one of them time their strategy on fuel or tires wrong, it could leave positions open for big changes there. Geekin in clean air on track right now. What is their tires looking like? 31% tire life on Geekin. I look at Dex Twilight, your leader, just for comparison, as they come across the line, 24% I think there's a possibility that Geekin may have to pit again before this race is over. Either that or they put on medium tires early, already built up wear. If I remember, I'll take another look at that later. About 5 laps left here at Mount Panorama. The gap between Carino and Violet is holding steady at about 1.2 seconds. That is a massive fall off until you get for the fight for fourth. That is Mini Aero, Subaru, and Savage. Honestly, we're at a position that even if Carino and Violet bungled their tire strategy and they have to pit again, they're likely going to be far enough ahead of this group that they could still hold on to podium results. 1.4 seconds is the gap between Mini Aero and Subaru. Then between Savage and Subaru, it's about 1.7 seconds, so they are still not close enough to start fighting with each other. Matthews runs ahead of Lil Kid Suave on circuit right now. The field has gotten very spread out at this point of the race. Wiza for pitting now with 5 laps to go. So he'll be fine on tires to the end, but he's going to be so far back on track position. Once again, we look at the tire life of our top 3. Twilight, 30% tires right now. Carino in second, 29%. So the advantage that Twilight had in tire life seems to be slipping away. Carino is doing a good job managing their tires, but the gap may be too big. We might not see any change for the lead here. The question, of course, is going to be Carino versus Violet. But right now, it looks like Carino has sheer pace and is using that to slowly, it's slow, but slowly pulling about 1/10 or 2/10 a lap on Violet to the end here. The podium results may already be decided, but every spot from 4th to about 8th could still be up in the air here. Savage is now within a second of teammate IRT Subaru. Subaru has not really closed on Mini Aero at all, though. So Savage really making some hay on that tire advantage that he has right now. Out of the final corner. Down the front straightaway, you can see Savage now has a draft on Subaru. I believe Subaru may still have some engine damage as well, and that might not be helping them either. Yeah, 1.8% engine damage. That's not going to help them. But both of the teammates dropped tires into the outside dirt coming out of turn number 1. All right, Subaru has the position. Savage wants it. Savage has a small but noteworthy tire life advantage. Is Savage going to push the issue against their teammate here? Through turn 2, not close enough to make the move here. Does Savage go for a bonsai move into turns 3 and 4? I don't think he's close enough to try it. Sure thought of it, though. Ooh. Savage just lightly taps the inside wall, but nothing big there out of it. Now they're coming back up to the top of the mountain. Ooh, Subaru into the dirt, into the outside wall. Here comes Savage right behind. Does he look to the inside? He does! Side by side between teammates, and Subaru is off into the dirt. And Savage gets back into the top 5 now. And now Savage is going to be looking ahead at Mini Aero ahead of them. Savage trying to make a recovery drive right now. The gap between Savage and Mini Aero, though, is about 2.5 seconds. But Savage is going to have some better tires. Not massively better, but they will be significantly better tires than Mini Aero. Real quickly, looking at Mini Aero. Tires, 39% wear for Mini Aero. For Savage, 30%, 31%. So I expect that gap between Savage and Mini Aero to continue to close. The main focus is the fight for 4th. Carino and Violet seem to be maintaining a gap of about 1.5 seconds between each other, and Carino is not closing on Dex Twilight with any significant ability here. Savage now down to just, 3 seconds out. It looks like Savage actually lost ground a bit as Subaru is still trying to pressure his teammate. A little bit farther back here, it looks like Suave has completely lost touch with Matthews and is under threat from Geekin. So it's all going pear-shaped now for Suave. The thing is, though, I don't know if Geekin is going to have the tires to make it to the end. He's already at 45% wear. He may have to pit again. So Lil Kid Suave may be able to salvage an 8, but it seems like the pace is not there for him late in this running. Gap between first and second is still a little bit over 4 seconds, while Carino takes a little bit out here and there. It does not seem like he has any serious shot of catching Twilight. The field is spread out, but I don't think it's spread out enough that our leaders are going to end up catching traffic before this is all said and done and over with. So I think everyone will finish on the lead lap just barely, assuming in-lane lead doesn't take damage and have to pit again. Yeah, Suave not having a good time of it. Our points leader trying to salvage what would just be an 8th place result. I think he'll be able to hold up still over Geekin, though, simply because I don't see any way that Geekin can make it to the end on their own tires right now. Gap between Mini Arrow and Savage is down to about 2 seconds. The problem, though, is that Subaru is still stuck right behind Savage and still pressuring them. Real quickly looking at Kalula, there's another driver that need to be considered. They're at 47% wear on their tires. I think they could make their tires go to the end. They won't be happy, but they could make their tires go to the end. And Geek can make their tires go to the end. He's almost at 50% now. Technically, I think he could go to the end, but those tires will be so cooked by the end. I would not want to be in his position. He's pulled up right behind Lil Kid Suave, though. Looks to the outside in the final corner. Gonna try the crossover on exit. No one in the top 10 pits now. I think everyone's just kind of locked into whatever they have rubber-wise to the checkers here. Here comes a move by Geek on the inside and will clear Suave. Yeah, Suave obviously is not happy with how this car is handling whatsoever. Suave might fall back to 10th. But again, he'll have a tire advantage over Geekin and Kalula. Can he make anything of it coming to the end here? That will be the big question. Matthews is starting to run down on Subaru and Savage, but it's unlikely he'll be able to catch Savage. I think he can catch Subaru, though, considering how much Subaru has been limping around most of this time. Savage is stalled about 2.5 seconds behind Mini Arrow. Has not seemed to be able to close the gap any more than that, though. Well, a little bit of contact there. Our points leader gives F1R Geekin a little bit of a shove. He says, hey, I don't care if you have F1R in front of your name. I am the points leader in this series. You will respect me. Bit of a twitch and slide there out of the rear by Geekin. But all three of these drivers keep their cars on track for now. Savage now to 2 seconds back from Mini Arrow, but time is running out. Again, not a great run through the corners there by Geekin. Suave is still right there. Oh, and Suave gets made contact with there by Kalula, and that's going to salvage Geekin. I think that will be enough to let Geekin salvage 8th. Suave went wide, Kalula went to the inside, and they made contact. And that's going to hemorrhage their time. And I think Suave might end up losing the position. He's going to run Kalula into the dirt there. He's runs him into the dirt a second time. They made contact twice. Under braking, who goes deeper? And it will be Suave who goes deeper. And Kalula's off into the dirt now. White flag is in the air. There is no chance that Twilight's caught by Carino unless they have a self-inflicted accident. Likewise, there's no chance that Violet catches Carino. What about the gap between Mini Arrow and Savage? I look at Mini Arrow's tire life right now. 58% tire life right now. I look at Savage, who is running behind them. Tires are 1 lap fresher. They've only now hit 50%. And they're doing better on fuel as well. They have a little bit lighter fuel tank at the moment. Suave has absolutely pulled away from Kalula now. But I don't know if Suave's going to be able to catch Geekin. Oh no, Carino's been caught by Violet! Here we are, fight for second all of a sudden! Carino and Violet on the fight, here for the bottom 2 steps of the podium! Violet slaps the outside wall just a little bit there. Violet's gonna have 1 single shot at Carino. And did not have the run coming onto the back straightaway to really maximize it. How good is their draft gonna be? Twilight has pulled the gap open to 5.7 seconds now. Can Violet do anything to Carino, or is it going to be a Dex 1-2 finish? Granted, on different teams, but it could still be a Dex. Drivers coming home 1-2 here at this checkered flag. Into the heaviest braking zone for the last time. The fight for the bottom 2 steps on the podium. Violet is not close enough to do anything of it. Carino does not make any big mistakes to give the spot or give an opportunity back to Violet. Coming out of the final corner, you can see Twilight up there. He's going to come down and take the checkered flag. The fight goes for the bottom 2 steps on the podium. Not a great run out of the final corner for either of them. Carino will come home in second. He will go from pole to getting wrecked to recovering to second. Violet will come home third. We'll have the fight for 4th and 5th. Here is AFZ Mini Aero with Savage just a little bit behind. Mini Aero has a track position, but their tires are cooked. There's one break.